Hi everyone. My name is Jerry Wise, and I'd like to talk about narcissistic parents and toxic parents and things they do that are not normal, and also many times hidden, things that we don't see for ourselves. I've helped thousands of people over the decades that I've spent helping people who've grown up in narcissistic homes and toxic families, and to help them get their families out of them. I think there are 4 things I want to share with you today that you, I hope, haven't heard too much about, but I think you'll find helpful in your own recovery and your own awareness. Narcissistic parents create and sustain a toxic super self. And this is a super self that everybody in the family must partake of. We all have umbilical cords connected to this super self emotionally. And they also create and sustain this toxic super self through malignant normalcy. Since we all are emotionally connected to the emotional system of our family of origin, your super self is created biologically and through emotional connectedness, as well as family rules, expectations, demands, how you are formed, and the homeostasis of the family. How the family is supposed to balance itself. And again, some of this comes through a cellular biological connection with our family. Other comes through learning, programming, mentally, emotionally. But we are a part of that emotional super self. And that malignant normalcy that we learn. That what is malignant is somehow normal to us. Then we develop this malignant normalcy, and all the craziness seems normal. Now, when I say normal, that doesn't mean it's not traumatizing. It doesn't mean it's not painful. It doesn't mean it's not confusing or abusive. It's just we've come to kind of see it as that's the way the world is and can be and probably will be. It may be traumatizing, but it also feels normal to us. And this normalcy is us partaking of that super self. And whenever we see all of that as normal, then we're not developing our own sense of self. We're still borrowing from this malignant super self, which conveys a malignant normalcy. This toxic normalcy and trauma can be passed on even on a cellular level. There was a great book I was reading called Emotional Inheritance. Fairly new book. I can't think of the author's name right now. But Emotional Inheritance. And she talks about, she's a psychiatrist and a psychoanalyst, and she talks about what some of the newer research on that cellular passing along of the family's dynamics. Number 2. Narcissistic parents express a self-centeredness, which most of us know. Narcissistic parents are self-centered and have very little empathy, but it's self-centered blindness. And so, because of that self-centeredness, nothing else exists but them. No empathy. In a sense, everyone orbits around them. We are just orbiting bodies around a narcissistic parent. We're not people. We're not persons. We don't have feelings. We don't have dreams. We don't have wants. We don't have goals. We are just these orbiting bodies around them because they have a self-centered blindness. They don't see past their own center of the universe. This blindness is the basis for not being seen and not being heard. Thirdly, they push us into polarities or limited choices. And I think, and again, I'm trying to describe the emotional and systemic dynamics of growing up in a narcissistic home. They push us into polarities. What does that mean? Well, polarities is a pole over here and a pole over here. It could be a pole up here and a pole down here. Many times these polarities, and again, it's A and B choices. and it gives us limited choices. It only offers us limited choices. The narcissistic parent or family members, it pushes us family members into triggering our anxiety and the amygdala. Then we feel there are mostly few choices. Give in or get upset. Give in, fawn or freeze. Get upset, fight or flight. We shut down or we rev up. And those are the polarities that a narcissistic parent will push us into. So it pushes us into A and B choices. Choice C is the way out. And most who've grown up with narcissistic parents don't know any choice C's. Check out my online program down there in the description, because I do a lot of work on helping people develop and understand a choice C, which they have been blind to all of this time. They only see this is A is a choice and B is a choice. When I say, well, what would be a C choice? I have no idea. What do you mean a C choice? Mom says to you, the narcissistic mom says to you, I wish I never had you. Do you see how that pushes us into either we want to feel shame or disappear or absorb it or give in, or we can get very upset and yell back and become pretty reactive over that. And option C would include these kinds of things. Not absorbing it. Learn to not absorb it. I'm not her. She's not me. She is ill. Why am I listening to this with any kind of seriousness? Declare self, in which if you continue to be rude, Mom, my relationship with you will change and you will see me less. Or what I call Coca-Cola talk. In other words, we see it as Coca-Cola. Mom's calling me a Coca-Cola. Well, if I yelled at you and said, you're just a Coca-Cola, what would you feel? Well, first of all, you'd probably be confused. And second of all, you might think Jerry's lost his mind. But yet when I do it, you'll think I've lost my mind and you might be confused. That's what I want you to experience when someone like a narcissistic parent says, I wish I'd never had you. Do you know how crazy that is? And yet we take it seriously, absorb it, feel hurt and shamed, and want to either do A or B. And we don't think of a C option. Or we might respond, it must be horrible, Mom, to believe that about your daughter. What's for lunch? And then we let her keep that thought. It's not for me, it's her thought, her belief, her feelings. Oftentimes, it's also even fake. It's they're wanting to get a rise out of you. It may not even be they truly believe it. Fourthly, narcissistic parents force your thoughts and feelings to blend, which is not good. The more we blend our thoughts and feelings, the more immature we are. The more we can separate thoughts and feelings, the more maturity we can express. It's what I call feel-think. In other words, this reactivity creates my thinking now. And it blends those together. This is a part of the reactivity, and they want to provoke us in that. And in that provoking, we tend to blend those together. A part of the program, as I describe this program and helping people, is to keep those separated so that we can maintain a maturity, not absorbing, reducing shame and guilt, and also our reactivity. So that's something that we can learn to do to keep those separate and not have other people force us to blend those together. When we are not calm and when we are pushed to reactivity, our feelings and thoughts blend together. We become less mature. Maturity is separating thoughts and feelings. I hope you'll like this video. Please subscribe. Comment on this video. I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day and be wise.